Hello, and welcome to the LLG Grapevine podcast. You're listening to Simran Panissa, Legal Training, Membership Support and Projects Coordinator, and Dennis Hall, LLG Bulletin Editor.
Hello, Simran. Hi, everyone.
Well, it's lovely to have you back with us, Dennis. There is lots going on in the local government sector, so let's get right on. What are you starting with this week?
Well, Simran, I thought we'd start with the news about OFLOG. The Office for Local Government was set up in 2023. Unloved, controversial, feared as a new style audit commission, and now it's under review. Here's the story. The government has announced that it will review the role of the Office for Local Government, known as OFLOG, by the end of 2024 to ensure that it will add the greatest possible value to the system of transparency, accountability and support of local government. And in a letter to OFLOG's Chief Executive, Josh Goodman, the Minister of State for Local Government and English Devolution, Jim McMahon, also announced that the body's Early Warning Conversations programme will be paused. OFLOG was established in July 2023 by the previous Secretary of State, Michael Gove, who said the office would provide targeted data and analysis to improve accountability and transparency in local government and to identify where councils need targeted support. In January 2024, the Conservative government announced plans for the office to publish reports on councils as part of an early warning system and conduct early warning conversations with some local authorities identified as potentially at risk. The previous government had suggested that the Early Warning Conversations programme could be implemented as early as next year, in comments made after its first pilot in June 2024. However, in his letter sent on Tuesday, the 10th of September, McMahon said OFLOG had agreed to pause the piloting and rolling out of its current model of early warning conversations, while we, the government, consider the government's overall approach to early warning and interventions. McMahon went on to clarify the body's short-term remit, noting that OFLOG plans to expand its data service to continue to add new metrics to its data explorer, with a focus on areas most relevant to the government's missions. He also said that the body should continue to improve the data explorer to ensure it better explains the data's limitations and how it should be used responsibly by third parties. In addition, OFLOG should develop options for new, additional or alternative data tools to help citizens understand local authorities' performance and being clear about how these would add value to existing tools and reporting provided by central government and the sector, he said. To fulfil its support function, McMahon said OFLOG will continue its work to understand the current landscape of support available to local authorities and, where there are gaps, will inform discussions with the ministry and its officials about how these gaps might be filled in future. Simran.
Well, LLG will continue to input where it can, and of course report back in the podcast on developments regarding OFLOG. Now, in other news, I've been looking at the new guidance for local authorities on the use of agency child and family social workers. I should make it clear at this point that the guidance does not come into force until the 31st of October this year. The rules in this guidance are designed, the government says, to improve the stability and quality of the child and family social worker workforce to enable social workers to build quality relationships with children and families that underpin better outcomes for vulnerable children. It also makes the point that the rules are designed to reduce the over-reliance on and also the costs of agency child and family social workers. This is to create a more sustainable workforce so that more resources are available to develop the workforce and improve the outcomes of children and families. Under the guidance, local authorities must provide the Department for Education with quarterly data on the use and cost of agency child and family social workers, including where supplied via a project team or other packaged model. And also, they should ensure that all new contracts for the supply of agency child and family social workers to local authority children's services support compliance with the agency rules, ensure that any contracts for the supply of agency child and family social workers, which are enforced prior to this guidance coming into effect, but do not contain the contractual obligations that prevent implementation of particular rules or parts of a rule support compliance with the agency rules. There are other best practice elements in the 39-page document, including templates for authorities to utilize, so it's a must-read for those recruiting agency staff. Now, Dennis, social media constantly causes a stir, and one local authority has definitely had enough, haven't they?
Indeed, there is, Simran. And you know, there is much criticism of social media platforms, especially in the political and public arena, because of their sometimes abuseful and hateful content. X, formerly known as Twitter, is notorious for giving uncontrolled access to those who generate such content. But Devon County Council is trying to do something about it. But will the idea catch on? Here's more. Devon County Council has said it no longer monitors its X or Twitter account because the social media website has become a very toxic place with high levels of abuse and disinformation. And in response to a question during a full council meeting, Cabinet member Councillor Andrew Saywell also said high subscription costs were a factor in the decision. Councillor Saywell said staff faced daily abuse on X and complained that the reporting system is not fit for the service. He added, hundreds of previously banned accounts for spreading hate and disinformation were reinstated under the new owner, and a European Commission study suggested that X has the biggest proportion of disinformation of the 6 big social networks. And commenting further on using X, he said, staff received high levels of abuse and exceptionally inappropriate and offensive material was submitted to the council. He said, this of course has a significant impact on the staff who received such communications. The local authority, which has 52,000 followers on X, formerly known as Twitter, chose to step away from the platform in January. The account has been left dormant, meaning that the council can return at any time, with staff now focusing on platforms with good engagement, such as Facebook with 34,000 followers, Instagram 6,000 followers, LinkedIn 23,000 followers, and the new WhatsApp channel currently with 332 followers following the council. Now, the council also has a digital newsletter which reaches around 100,000 subscribers on a weekly basis. Now, here's the question. Has your council had similar experiences with social media? Let us know on our forum page. Simran.
Well, that's really interesting, Dennis. It would be good to know if any other council has taken this approach as well. So back to guidance for me again, but this time it's guidance from the Equality and Human Rights Commission on the relationship between the public sector, equality duty, and data protection law. It provides advice for public authorities in England, Scotland, and Wales that are legally required to publish equality information under the specific equality duties. It also states that it would be helpful for authorities when they collect and use data about people sharing particular protected characteristics, which is often referred to as equality monitoring, because it aims to help authorities build an evidence base to support compliance with the public sector equality duty and to meet their specific duties. The guidance helpfully lists out the specific responsibilities listed authorities have in respect of data contained within regulations and details separately the duties for England, Wales, and Scotland, which differ slightly. The guidance supplements a range of guidance the Commission has published and should also be read alongside their technical guidance. The guidance specifically states that data protection law does not prevent public authorities from processing personal data that is directly or indirectly linked to protected characteristics under the Equality Act 2010. In fact, it states that processing information on the protected characteristics of service users and employees is key for public authorities to understand and respond to the needs of their communities and workforce, and also to uncover and address discrimination, biases, and inequalities. And further, that it also gives public authorities an understanding of the impact of their policies and practices on people who share particular protected characteristics. It does warn, however, that public authorities must always ensure that the processing of personal data is lawful, fair, and transparent, including when data is used in the context of AI. It must obviously comply with the principles and requirements of UK GDPR, as well as the public sector duty, and the guidance does go on to detail what is meant by that. But we could suggest, of course, always overlaying that with guidance by the ICO. Dennis, you've been taking a look at select committees, I understand.
Yes, I have. Select committees play a vital role in keeping a scrutiny check on government. All their chairs were appointed last week, and bulletin readers will already know we keep a close eye on the work of the Local Government Committee. And it now has a new chair, London MP Florence Eschalomi. Here's the story. Florence Eschalomi MP has vowed to hold the government to account on building safety and house building after being elected as chair of the Housing, Communities and Local Government Select Committee. The Labour MP for Vauxhall and Camberwell Green, who has been the first female chair of the committee, replaces Clive Betts, who chaired the committee for 14 years. MPs cast their votes for the position in a secret ballot on the 11th of September, and Eschalomi won 437 votes, beating the other candidate, Sean Davies, by 316 votes. The London MP first joined Parliament in 2019, and prior to becoming an MP, she was a London Assembly member and a councillor for the London Borough of Lambeth. Commenting on her appointment, Eschalomi said, "Fixing the housing crisis and ensuring more homes are built are crucial missions for the country, and I'm sure my committee will wish to consider our approach to scrutinising the government's progress in these areas." She added that building safety, the rights of social housing tenants and private renters, local government finance, adult social care and strengthening communities are also very big issues for this Parliament. And she went on to say, "I hope the committee will make an impact in holding the government to account and helping to improve the lives of our constituents, and I look forward to working with colleagues on a cross-party basis once the committee is established." Simran.
Well, LLG are always willing to assist select committees with evidence to help them come to their recommendations, and of course have done so in the past. Now, finally, from me, taken from the LGA bulletin, the LGA have said that councils face a funding gap of more than £2 billion next year, and warned against any disastrous further cuts in the autumn budget. In a submission to the Treasury ahead of the October 30 fiscal event, the LGA stated that the government needed to take immediate steps to stabilise council finances and protect vital local services. Councillor Louise Gittins, LGA chair, said, "Councils are the key to delivering the government's priorities, but the risk of financial failure across local government is potentially becoming systemic. The government needs to take action to provide councils with financial stability and certainty in order to unlock their full potential." And sticking with finances, during a House of Lords debate on public libraries, Baroness Sanderson presented findings from her review, highlighting the need for stronger library infrastructure without burdening local authorities, a position supported by the LGA. Baroness Rubark echoed the LGA's concerns about funding challenges, pointing to the closure of 800 libraries over 9 years and calling for multi-year financial commitments to ensure accessibility. And on that note, you can read more on the items discussed today and many more besides by going to Bulletin 35 on the LLG website. So it's goodbye from me.
And from me too. Bye now.
Bye.